I actually was in front of the court 2 days ago making an argument for a client, so I have to be very careful where I tread. Um, I, like everybody else, was hoping that the Supreme Court would weigh in on the merits of the redistricting issue before it went to the vote. And I say that not because, obviously I've got my own opinions. I've stated those. Everybody knows those if they follow me. But I think it was important for the Supreme Court to step in and say, you know what, we're a separate branch of government. We're independent of the legislature. We're independent of the executive branch, and we follow the state constitution. That's all we do. And if you're not consistent with the Constitution, we're gonna prevent what you're doing. And I feel like deferring that, I think, is going to harm them in the long term. But again, I got to be careful what I say. So I'll just, as to the quote unquote grave concerns you asked about, Senator. You know, the problem is that once the vote is had, and by the way, I may be more optimistic than others about how the vote will happen. But once the vote is had, it's very hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube. People will have already voted on it. They will assume it's the case. The candidates will assume it's the case. It's going to kind of, at that point, achieve its own momentum. Um, so I feel like if the Supreme Court had just taken a decisive step back in February or early March, we're done. And we're on to the next. Memories are so short in Richmond, as you know, Senator. People
Yeah.
are on to the next issue in 24 hours. And just like my original advice was, the governor should have vetoed the bill and just said, you know what, I'm in charge here, and I don't want to do this, and so just veto it, and we're on to the next thing. But looks like it's not going to be that way, and so we'll go to the ballot in April and see what happens.